Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
Now it's time for us to get into our main discussion, bringing Leia to life in Episode 9. We thought JJ's hardest task for Star Wars will be bringing Star Wars back to life with The Force Awakens, but now he has an arguably more difficult task, bringing Leia with Carrie Fisher for Episode 9, doing it right, having it make sense, and fit the film while respecting Carrie Fisher and her legacy. So let's talk about how we think they'll pull this off and what we think they'll do. Now, Clayton, I know you visited with ILM and saw how they kind of brought Leia back via CGI and motion capture. What's your take on how you think JJ and crew are going to tackle this and do it the right way?
Yeah, I was very surprised and very excited because we had heard all along that they would not do a CG version of Carrie Fisher. That was just off the table from the beginning. And I don't know that they would have been able to do it. I mean, I think they did a great job in Rogue One. I think it would have been much harder to pull off in any kind of CG fashion. But I was really excited to hear how this how they plan on doing it with this unused footage, because my mind immediately went to Celebration last year when John Knoll did this whole presentation using showing the unused takes of all the Rebel pilots in the cockpits, which they then reused and digitally cut them out of the background and put them into new CG cockpits, and were able to reuse all of that footage. And so I got really excited, not only that they were using reused footage, or old footage, unused footage, I should say, but also it'll be really interesting to see if they do any kind of digital magic manipulation with it, like taking Carrie's performance and maybe putting her in a different location, a different planet from where it was shot at. And I actually I talked to Todd Fisher today about all of this, and he has been talking to JJ about it, J.J. Abrams. Sure. And he said, I asked him because I was curious, the press release said they were using unused footage from The Force Awakens. And I asked him about The Last Jedi, and he told me that they are also using unused footage from The Last Jedi. Okay. Wow. So not only from The Force Awakens, but apparently they are also using unused footage from The Last Jedi. And I said, well, how many minutes do they have of this stuff? And he goes, I can't tell you that.
Don't you wish you could just go through a library and watch all the unused footage? Because I would literally love to do that.
Right. So they apparently have a number of minutes of unused footage, both from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And
they have like 38 slap takes too.
Right, yeah, you could do a whole movie just with slap takes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But Todd Fisher said that he's very excited. The whole family is really excited about this and wanted it to happen. And he says that there are, his exact quote was, big surprises. There are big surprises coming with this movie and with this performance and with this unused footage. And he said this one is really for the fans, he says. So
wow.
He wouldn't tell me any more detail. He was being very, very careful not to reveal anything else, but
you demand, Todd.
There you go.
Based on what you're saying, I got a question. Do you think she makes it through the movie? Do you think that's the surprise?
Makes it through the movie? Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. I have no idea. No idea.
I have to think then, the way his quotes are sounding, it sounds like he is fully in on exactly what they're doing with the character. So it's not just we give you your blessing and do what you need to do, JJ. It sounds like they ran it by all the details by the family and almost got a overall approval.
I think it came afterward. I think it was kind of in the works, and they kind of came to the family after and said, this is what we plan on doing. I'm not completely clear on that chronology, but that was my sense of it talking to him. So, but whatever they are doing, Billie Lourd, the entire family is apparently 100% behind it.
Yeah, it's just so awesome that the family, like, they're giving the family the ability to even be considered. Because, I mean, look at tons of other movie people that are just like, nah, we're going to make our decisions and not include you. So the idea
they didn't
that,
ask
like,
the Cushing family, did they? We're just going to remake Tarkin.
that they're just like, they know that this is sensitive to the family and to the fans and to everybody involved, that they're taking the time to, like, really do this right. It's just really meaningful. I'm sure to everyone. It means something to me because she's like the first person I loved in Star Wars. So
yeah. No, it's I have all the faith that JJ and team will find a clever and appropriate way to weave all of this footage together. And I was thinking about it today. It's like, think about being the actor who now has to, because I'm sure she'll have dialogue with people that they'll have to reshoot, and there will be scenes that they make up out of nothing. And so you're going to have actors who are in these scenes playing against this footage that they have, which will be, I bet that would be a tough thing to do.
It's kind of like with Deadpool where they act against Juggernaut because Juggernaut wasn't there in Deadpool.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it'll be, I'm fascinated to see what they come up with.
I wonder if they'll get the guy who was the stand-in for Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope with his furry coat and just be like, okay, you're going to talk to that guy.
Declan something, right? What was that guy's name?
He has experience being the random stand-in for a character.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on his resume. He still has that old resume. So has this been... Have you written a report on this anywhere that about the whole TLJ scenes being used for this, or is this?
I have not. No, as we record this conversation with Todd was about an hour and a half old. So no, I haven't written or tweeted about it yet.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing about it.
And I'll hold it for you. I won't say anything.
We appreciate that. I am curious where they're going to go with the character. I know James just brought up the idea that I didn't even think about, that Leia, potentially surviving the movie and it being a happy ending. And you're kind of saying like it's going to be for the fans, and that leads me to think like, oh, they're not going to kill off Leia because they're mad that they killed off Luke. So
or too close to home. Like now they're killing off a character that we're all like. I don't know, aware of her real life death. It's like to see her die on screen makes it feel like we're watching her real life death or something. So I don't know.
It's tricky any way you do it. And
is.
there will be people who will not be happy either way. But I can't imagine the challenge that they must be facing with this.
Yeah, we had that discussion a while ago. Is she going to be in episode 9? What are we going to do? And we came to the conclusion that no matter what you do, there's going to be like 80% of people who thought they should have done one of the other options. Only like 20% of people are going to be like, well, I'm glad they did what I thought they were going to do, which is reuse old footage. But there's going to be people who are like, they should have recast her, and they'll just be bummed about that when they go in the movie. So it's definitely tricky. I do not envy J.J. Abrams' position right now.
Yeah, nor do I. And like people were asking me before Solo what my expectations for Solo were. And my honest answer is I try not, as much as possible, I try not to have any expectations going in because you just end up disappointed either way. So I'm gladly waiting to be surprised. But man,
or the folks that write their plots and then their plots don't come true. And
right.
I think it's important that they announced it, one, because then it would be like people trying to, if that came up through rumors instead, I think it was right that they addressed it head on. I know JJ likes to be secretive at times, but also that they were very public about the family support, because then you may have the haters saying like, how can you do this to Carrie? And then, well, it's like, well, pal, listen, her family's 100% behind it, so maybe you should be too.
Yeah, I thought that whole thing did a good job of kind of getting ahead of it to the extent that they can.
I think they've done that all together. They've been very straightforward. I mean, from the announcement last week with all the cast, they didn't have to announce all those people, but they did. And then the picture that they posted with, the shot and then his explanation of the Carrie Fisher thing, and then all this news is coming out. It seems like they're being very straightforward. And then the Star Wars show, they said that they're going to give live updates from JJ on his Instagram and via their website. So I think they're trying to control the stuff that's coming off the set and telling their narrative, which is very different from Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Solo, which Solo, so much stuff leaked. So it's like, I'm sure they're just trying to control it.
Well, I think they liked what Ron Howard was doing.
Right.
I think they got a vibe from that, and I think they said that the fans are appreciating this. We're not really giving anything away. It's just fun, and we're showing them little things, and we're controlling a lot of the information that's coming off of the film set. So I think they're maybe talking to JJ and saying, hey, help us out a little bit. Maybe give us a little peek into that mystery box every once in a while. Little things that don't really matter, but they make the fans feel like they don't crave it as much or something.
He made that Twitter account a while ago.
Yeah, I made a joke today on Twitter about it. I'm like, the good thing about J.J. Abrams' Twitter account is he has no tweets he has to go back and delete, literally.
Well, there is that.
He has one tweet, and it was today.
Do you guys think that, assuming we get the first trailer, the first look at episode 9 at Celebration, do you think that that first look has any Carrie Fisher in it? Or do you think they hold that off for a later trailer?
I think it will.
You think later?
No, I think they will have at least a clip of her or a snapshot or something.
I think they may hold off until the big trailer. Maybe we'll get a tease. I think we may get a taste or a tease sometime before Celebration, because that is a long time. That's not until April, right? That's that's a ways off. So we might get like a little behind the scenes something, one of those little mashups that they do, that I don't think I'll have Carrie in. This is total speculation and guess, but I think they may do it kind of like they did with Han Solo. I mean, we didn't see Han Solo until the end of that big trailer.
But that was the Celebration trailer.
That was the Celebration trailer.
There was like a little teaser beforehand.
Yeah, the teaser, right.
I think that teaser might have just existed simply because it was Episode 7 and Star Wars is coming back. But I do kind of feel that if the first real trailer of Episode 7 was that Chewie, we're home, boom, Harrison Ford, there he is. The first real trailer we got of Last Jedi is it's time for the Jedi to end. Boom, Mark Hamill, there he is. I could see this big Celebration Chicago trailer being everything leading up to this, and that last final scene is boom, there she is, Carrie Fisher, and they turn out the lights, and the whole place just goes nuts.
Yeah.
She's the Chewie we're home moment. I agree 100%.
Right. Take some Kleenex into that one for sure.
Yeah, right.
I'm feeling it now just thinking about it.
I think they might put something out before that though. Like
that's possible.
Like Force Awakens, going back to the first movie. They put something out in November, and it was the one where Finn is breathing, and then you see Kylo Ren lighting up his sword, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, that's Luke! He's a bad guy." I think you might do something short like that in November.
Yeah, but if they did do that, I could see something similar with boom, there's Finn with longer hair, and then you see Daisy Ridley in a different outfit, something that looks drastically different than what she was wearing in 7 and 8 or something, and I don't know. I could see something like that, but I do think
Kylo Ren has a shaved head.
Yeah, it's all the hair is just gone right off the top.
No,
he's got the goatee.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. But they have a ton of movies coming out this fall that if they wanted to push people to those movies, they would put a trailer in front of it. So even if it's a teaser, people will go to the movie just to see the teaser.
Yeah, good point. Excellent point.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard from someone else too that this thing's going to be chock full of fan service, and that's because they said someone at Lucasfilm told them, and whatever. But I mean, I could see it happening, but I also think JJ's smart enough not to bring back like another super weapon because he doesn't want to get the backlash that he got from TFA, which I didn't think he deserved, but some people had points on that. So I don't know if we're getting a Star Killer 2 or anything like that. So I'm curious what the First Order is going to be cooking up for us, but we have a long way to go.
So
yeah, redemption.
So we're using footage from deleted scenes. Do you think that they're limited on their scenes, which could potentially have dictated the story? Like there's only so many things that she could have said that are generic enough that they could use it in a different story. They're not going to use a scene of her saying, "We need to go save Rey from Starkiller Base."
They can use ADR with another actress voice, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. They could maybe show her on camera saying a line, then they show the other person, and you hear somebody else dictating lines ADR-wise or something in impersonation.
They cut out the whole scene with Maz, though, from Force Awakens, where she's talking to Maz.
But then again, like, what do you think was in that conversation that they could then have carried over? I mean, I guess I'm picturing a situation where she says, okay, well, we've only got 5 takes with her. And with this one, she's talking about eating peanuts. So we have to write the story around eating peanuts because we have to be able to use that clip. You know?
Sure.
I don't know. What do we all think? Like, Clayton, what do you think their best use of this stuff is going to be?
I think it'll be a combination. Yeah, I think it'll be, like you're saying, that was actually one I hadn't thought of, a simple one, which is an ADR replacing somebody's voice. They could find somebody who sounds like her, from going low tech all the way to high tech, and it's not outside the realm of possibility that they could even do some digital manipulation on lips to even match words. I mean, there's a lot of different things they could do. I think it'll be an interesting combination. They could, she could appear in a hologram of all things, which doesn't even really, I mean, that seems to me like visual from a visual effects standpoint, that'd be easier to pull off than.
Right.
And it pulls it back to the New Hope, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's probably all kinds of cool techniques used together and in different combinations that they'll be able to make it work in the edit room, which is essentially where it'll come together.
When J.J. started writing this script, was this the first thing that he did? He goes, okay, I want to add Carrie. I'm going to go in, look at what I can do, and I'm going to write the story based around the ability to use the clips that she's in. Or did he write the story and then say, can we use Carrie? Oh, I think we can. And she got put in.
I would guess it was, as they're talking about what the story is going to be, it's like, this is the biggest challenge of them all. How do we work her in? So it was probably a little bit of a combination of both. I'm guessing that this idea helped guide them a little bit. That's a tough one.
Yeah. His tweet today, it makes me think about his tweet today now, because he said, bittersweet starting this next chapter without Carrie, but thanks to an extraordinary cast and crew, we are ready to go. Grateful for Rian Johnson. So that has me thinking, like, there's the Last Jedi stuff, like, that you had told us about, Clayton, like, grateful that you provided us with this footage that you had shot that you didn't use, and that's helping me make this possible. In addition to, grateful for him making a great movie, of course, but it's another layer of that, I think.
And JJ was involved with The Last Jedi, just like Ryan had seen The Force Awakens. Like, it's all working together. So that's what makes me laugh when I see people talking like, oh, well, JJ can save it. JJ's been involved the whole time.
Yeah. They're not making these movies in a vacuum. Yeah, they are. They're all talking to each other along the way. Right.
Well, I mean, my closing thoughts on this discussion is that my kind of door just got blown wide open, because I was thinking in a very small pocket that they're going to show her just because, she didn't just disappear. They're going to show her briefly somehow, like hologram, whatever. But now that, I'm thinking about all the things that they can possibly do, and you're adding in also the Last Jedi potential scenes and stuff. Like James said, she could really have a sizable part in this movie, well beyond her expectations. So now I'm just kind of, the door is blown wide open now for me. Yeah.
And Ryan shot a lot, because he shoots everything.
Yeah. He shoots things that he's shooting. He takes pictures of his camera shooting things. So
he's so meta, so he probably has tons of footage. Yeah.
Right.
That's how he got the take of her talking about peanuts. He's like, just give me a couple lines about peanuts. We'll use it later, maybe. Nah.
So James and Lacey, your final thoughts on this, and then we'll let Clayton give us his closing words on Carrie and 9.
I'll let James go first.
Yeah, I was going to say something this goes all the way back to the beginning of the discussion about Carrie being represented as a CG character. that I definitely don't think that was ever going to happen, considering the Tarkin situation. I think that generally most people didn't even, like, most casual Star Wars fans went into Rogue One and might possibly not have even realized that was a CG character. But as soon as she turns around and it's Carrie Fisher and it's one of the big trio, like, everybody's like, oh, they did something. They did some sort of CG work there or something. So I think people would have been just staring at every scene with her in it, and it just would have taken away from every moment that she was in the scene. And I just don't get the impression that that's still going to be the case. Like, I understand she might be like cut and pasted into certain scenes, but I think it's just going to look so good that people aren't going to be focusing on the fakeness of it. I think they're going to be like, that's her. That's really her acting. That's
stay in the moment and don't
correct,
step outside of it. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's the overall vibe of this whole thing. I think that probably is one of the best things they could have done to keep her legacy alive as well. For this final installment, it was supposed to be about her from the beginning, and it looks like it might still have a possibility for her to have a strong role in this movie without even have to lift a finger, I guess you could say.
Lacey?
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised. I'm getting really emotional just talking about this.
Yeah, me too.
Because so I grew up on the originals, not the prequels, which is surprising because I grew up during the time of the prequels, but I first saw the originals, and she was such an important character to me as a woman, as a young girl, and to so many people. So the idea that she's coming back for this movie just means so much to me and so many other people, I'm sure. So I'm so glad that her family's on board and that they're doing it in a way that it's not her being replaced. Because for a long time, people were like, oh, Meryl Streep should play her. Oh, and to me, it was just like, okay, Meryl's wonderful. She's glorious, the best of the best. But you can't replace Carrie Fisher. She means so much to so many people. So I'm just so excited about the way that they're handling it. And I'm glad, I know John and I have talked about this, that we thought that she was just going to be in the opening crawl and that's how they were going to handle it with her being dead. Yeah. Because we just didn't know how they were going to pull this off without doing CGI. So
and
this
then
is
Force
just
goes through at the end.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it just means so much to me. I used to run around pretending she was my mom and I was going on missions for her. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I would just, oh God, I'm trying not to get emotional, but I'm just super pumped. I'm excited. I think it's going to be great.
Clayton?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, was my first crush at 4 or 5 years old. I mean, so important, and I agree. There was no way to do this with a CG character. Even though, my daughter, who is 14 now, when she saw Rogue One, she had no idea who Peter Cushing was, had no idea whether he was alive or dead, and so I did this sort of experiment where I asked her, what do you think of that? And she had no idea that it was a CG character. But I just think there's so much. I mean, everybody knows Carrie Fisher, and everybody knows her story at this point. And there was just no way to do it. So you have to have that organic performance, which I'm sure they will preserve. And I think it'll be not only it will serve the story, but I think it'll end up being ultimately a really, really fitting and appropriate tribute to all that she brought to that role over 4 decades. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right.
So I'm really, really excited by it, and I'm excited to hear Todd Fisher say that there will be big surprises, and this is for the fans. I cannot wait.
Bring tissues. I will.
A lot.
Yeah, and
sob in the movie.
And thank you for bringing that info to us, Clayton. We appreciate that. And I think it makes us even all more excited to know that her brother is giving it that sort of high praise and excitement.
Yep.
And we can all kind of, I guess, picture Carrie kind of making a joke about this, saying well, at least Photoshop out my wrinkles or something like that, So
Exactly.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching that video. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and head over to the full episode by clicking this box here. If you want, you can subscribe, and that way you get all the weekly news, you get our discussions, you get information on our giveaways whenever we do them. It's a good time, we promise. Thanks for watching the Resistance broadcast.